Kick-ass facts. Pew, 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 pew. Visual agnosia, dealer's choice, is an impairment in recognition of visually presented objects. A singer and music teacher with visual mistook his wife for a hat. He was referred to neurologist Oliver Sacks for treatment. After he left the examination room during his first visit, he grabbed his wife's head, thinking it was his hat. Oliver Sacks went on to write a book about this and other cases and called it The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat and Other Clinical Tales. Other tales in the book include The Man Who Fell Out of Bed. Sacks encounters a patient on the floor in his hospital room where he tells Sacks that he woke up to find a strange leg in his bed. Assuming the nurses were playing a prank on him, he attempted to toss the leg out of bed, only to find that he was attached to it. Although Sacks attempts to persuade the patient that the leg is his own, he remains bewildered in an apparent case of somatoparaphrenia, which is a type of delusion where one denies ownership of a limb or an entire side of one's body, even if provided with undeniable proof that the limb belongs to and is attached to their own body. The patient produces elaborate stories about whose limb it really is and how the limb ended up on their body. Eyes Right is about a woman in her 60s who has hemispatial neglect. She completely forgets the idea of the left side of her body and the world around her. When nurses place food or drink on her left side, she doesn't recognize that it's there. Move it to the right. Voila. Dr. Sacks attempted to show the patient the left side of her body using a video screen setup. When the patient sees the left side of her body on her right, she's overwhelmed with anxiety and asks for it to stop. Not in the book. You'll have to get the book if you want more. Kuru is a rare, incurable, and fatal neurodegenerative disorder that was formerly common among the Fore people of Papua New Guinea, caused by the transmission of infected prion proteins. Symptoms include body tremors, random outbursts of laughter, gradual loss of coordination, and infection and pneumonia during the terminal stage. It often takes several years or even decades for symptoms to appear after exposure, and there's an 11 to 14-month life expectancy after the onset of symptoms. It is now generally accepted that Kuru was transmitted among the members of the Fore tribe via funerary cannibalism. Deceased family members were traditionally cooked and eaten, which was thought to help free the spirit of the dead. Women and children usually ate the brain, which is where the infectious proteins were most concentrated, allowing for the transmission of Kuru, which is also why the disease was most prevalent among women and children. The epidemic likely started when a villager developed sporadic Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease and died. When the villagers ate his brain, they contracted the disease and then spread it to other villagers when they ate their brains. While the Fore people stopped consuming people meat in the early 1960s when it was first speculated to be transmitted via endocannibalism, the disease lingered due to its long incubation period of anywhere from 10 to over 50 years. 50 years! Then experienced a sharp decline, from 200 deaths per year in 1957 to no deaths from at least 2010 onwards. Sources disagree about whether the last known victim died in 2005 or 2009. Surgeons doing biopsies on people with tattoos noted that the lymph nodes are sometimes stained with tattoo ink that has been absorbed and then carried off by the immune cells. It is possible that if ferrous particles are present, the migrated ink can affect the appearance of a lymph node in an X-ray. Scientists analyzed the bodies of 4 donors with tattoos and compared them with 2 donors without tattoos. They found that the tissue samples from 2 of the inked donors had stained the lymph nodes. Among the nanoparticles were 5 elements that were identified as toxic: aluminum, chromium, iron, nickel, and copper. Our bodies are programmed to try to get rid of anything foreign, which is one of the lymphatic system's main functions. When you see tattoo ink in the lymph nodes, it's doing its job to protect the human organism.